Hello, hello, hello. I just want to remind you that we have Caramoo each and every Friday night right here in Montgomery, Alabama. If you want to find out where, if you want to find out what time, all you need to do is call this number, and that is 334-399-7737. That's 334-399-77. John Henry Drums, home of the Majestic Mind Matters University. This next piece is also a piece of audio extracted from video explaining and talking about reparations. Just listen. You are listening to John Henry Drums,
home of Majestic Mind Matters University.
We've been duped into believing that it's absolutely foolish to continue to fight for reparations. Many of us don't recognize the direct ties between the past and the wealth that was carried into today.
So why is there this special resistance to reparations for black people? I suspect that there are two reasons. One is I think that lots and lots of people, both black and white, increasingly take the view that the kinds of disparities that black people are encountering today are our own fault. So it's kind of this argument that the problem with black people is black people. And there's a very inadequate and incomplete analysis of all the conditions that have led to these disparities. And there is no analysis of the fact that in many instances, black people have actually accomplished a great deal despite the various barriers that we've been faced with. Most people don't know that if you were to take into account family income and education, blacks get more years of schooling and more credentials than comparably situated whites. Okay, so there's all these claims about blacks being opposed to educational achievement, about blacks lacking motivation, etc. Those claims are not consistent with the fact that I just provided you with. Okay, so I think that's the first part of it, that we have embraced this narrative. Even the president has embraced this narrative about, there's something wrong with black people, which is why black people have less of everything. But then the second reason is, I think, that this is another way in which racism operates. So if a gross injustice occurs to some other group of people, then it might be viewed as quite legitimate to provide them with reparations. But not black folks, because, well, black folks are less than. And so I think those are the two reasons. And I think if we are going to actually build a successful case for deserved reparations, then we have to address those two attitudes.
Our ancestors were forced to invest in this economy without ever receiving a return. Unlike Jews, reparations were never paid to slaves or their descendants to help balance out this unjustified wealth. But understand that the reason our ancestors were enslaved was not for the purpose of being able to call us right. It was not even for the purpose of being able to raise a slave flag. No, all of the killing, the torturing, dehumanizing, inhumane treatment all boiled down to one reason: wealth.
So you think all of this might make our nation's leaders want to have a discussion about reparations, but you'd be wrong.
Almost 50% of South Carolina's Democrats are African Americans. It's among the highest percentage of the nation. So we're getting a lot of questions from YouTube viewers on race tonight. This first one is for Senator Edwards. Let's listen.
Hello, America. Hello, presidential candidates. This is Will from Boston, Massachusetts. And I hope, they put this question on. It's a question in the back of everybody's head, Some people is further back than others collecting cobwebs. But is African Americans ever going to get reparations for slavery? I know y'all going to run around this question dipping and dodging. So let's see how far y'all can get.
Senator Edwards, no dipping and dodging. Should African Americans get reparations?
Not for reparations. I can answer that question, but I think there are other things we can do to create some equality that doesn't exist in this country today.
Senator Obama, your position on reparations?
I think the reparations we need right here in South Carolina is investment, for example, in our schools. I did a town hall meeting in Florence, South Carolina, in an area called the Corridor of Shame. They've got buildings that students are trying to learn in that were built right after the Civil War. And we've got teachers who are not trained to teach the subjects they're teaching in, high dropout rates. We've got to understand that there are corridors of shame all across the country. And if we make the investments and understand that those are our children, that's the kind of reparations that are really going to make a difference in America right now.
Is anyone on the stage for reparations for slavery for African Americans? Are you?
I am. The Bible says we shall be and must be repairers of the breach. And a breach has occurred, and we have to acknowledge that. It's a breach that has resulted in inequality in opportunities for education, for health care, for housing, for employment, and so we must be mindful of that. We need to have a country which recognizes that there is an inequality of opportunity, and a president who's ready to challenge the interest groups, be they insurance companies or mortgage companies or defense contractors who are taking the money away from the people who need it. Yes, I am for repairing the breach. Yes, I am for reparations.
Our next question.
So, for those who may not know, Dr. Claude Anderson is the author of Powernomics, the national plan to empower Black America. Dr. Anderson has been fighting for reparations for Black people for years and has spent over $250,000 of his own money doing so. When he reached out for help from other wealthy Black people like Oprah Winfrey, they refused to help him because this issue was too Black. He has dedicated his life to ensuring Black people will excel economically, and it has been a long, hard battle. Dr. Anderson is very close to obtaining billions in reparations for Black people, but is being blocked by the Obama administration. Yes, the Obama administration, the very administration you would think would be all for reparations for Blacks. During a conversation with Dr. Boyce Watkins, Dr. Anderson shared with him that the Trump administration has at least sat down with him and listened to what he had to say, while the Obama administration quickly dismissed him. Dr. Watkins says this is because the Democratic Party doesn't want to do anything for Black people because they feel like they already have our support. Why do anything to advance us if they don't have to? Our settlement for reparations was blocked by the Obama administration. Let that sink in. He's not saying the Trump administration is a wonderful party, but when the administration knows they don't have your loyalty and support, they are more open to listening.
Do you know in February 2009, the upcoming United Nations Conference on Racism was upcoming? Well, guess what? By April, he made it very clear. We boycotting, the U.S. will not go. Let's see why he didn't want to go to the UN conference on racism. This is a Washington Post article, April 2009. The Obama administration appears to be standing by its decision to boycott the World Conference against racism next week in Geneva. The preliminary conference document ran 45 pages and called for reparations for slavery. Stop. The world, the nations around the world have looked at slavery. Many of those nations hate Black. I mean, talking about Arabs, Europeans, they hate Black people too. But everybody universally looked at what happened to Black people in America and said they got to get reparations. You got to do it. Barack Obama gives trillions of dollars to banking institutions that are already billionaires. Small hats who are billionaires are now getting trillions of U.S. dollars. At the same time, he's saying we're not even going to a conference to even discuss giving black people $1 of money for work that we actually did in this country to build it and were never paid for. So there's $0 of our tax dollars that we paid. We paid the taxes, we did the work and never got paid. $0 for us, and he won't even allow the U.S. to go to the conference. First U.S. president to boycott a United Nations conference on racism. The first one to say we ain't even going. We can't get $1, but yet the small hats can get trillions of dollars out the same coffers where there's no money for us.
We're in a world of trouble. And the biggest thing that Obama has done is injurious to black folk. The mere fact that he was publicized as being a black president. He's not a black president. He's an African American. He's not a black American. There's a distinct difference between an African American and a black American. And he does not fully understand the nature of black folks' so unique experiences in this country. And that's damaging black folk. And when he leaves his office, if he does do something in the next year, this particular year is coming up, to specifically change and modify the massive influx of immigrants over black folks, to subordinate them, try to redistribute some resources in the hands of black folk are going to be buried alive. And Hispanics already outnumber black folk in the political arena. And in about another 15 years, Asians are going to get together and outnumber black folks. So black folk are going to be pushed out from being second-class citizens in the 1900s. And by the 2000s, they became third-class citizens. These Asians are going to make black folks fourth-class citizens. And Obama's going to bear a lot of burdens for that, because what he's doing now is legitimizing nothing-ism for black folk in this country. He's going to wind up being Clarence Thomas in the White House.
Wow. Well, I can't say I disagree with you. I think that it's interesting that the Obama presidency, as much symbolism as there was, it seems that a lot of it was built on an illusion that now we sort of set the bar so low that when you get a white person in the White House, how can you go and ask the white person more than you ask your black president for? And I think that's the issue for me. I don't think whoever's in the White House has really made a difference for black folks.
That's going to be the handicap for black folk. White folk will say, well, if Obama didn't do anything for you black folk in 8 years, why should I do anything for you? And so consequently, we're going to be abandoned, obsolete labor force for the rest of our existence. And we're going to be locked into a permanent underclass position if somebody doesn't do something helpful for black folk and bring black folk up and say black folk are exceptional people in this country, that they are totally unlike any other people in this country, and they must be treated differently from anybody else in this country. Blacks are the only non-immigrants, Dr. Watkins. They're the only non-immigrants in this country. Everybody else comes as immigrants. They get benefits, and everything's been turned upside down and backwards. See, black folk are really the Native Americans in this country. They're the people who should be getting the first-class treatment in this country. All the other people who come in this country are immigrants. They came here looking for unearned benefits. And back in doing slavery, they came here looking for what we call the American dream. The American dream means let's go to America and get free land and free black labor. And now that's over, now they still come in looking for unearned benefits. I don't care whether it's preferential treatments or it's affirmative action or it's 887 sides or getting governmental assistance or different kind of programs that set up specifically for immigrants. They get benefits. Black people are the only people that systematically, conscientiously, and historically been denied any help from anybody. And all these so-called fabricated minorities are all the products and descendants of slaveholders in this country. I don't care what you talk about every gender group, every ethnic group, every racial group, every religious group, every handicapped group, every transsexual group. They've all exploited and taken advantage of black folk. Nobody stood up for black folk. And you got all these black leaders right now all over the country that are looking out for everybody but black folk, and that's the disadvantage. And I don't know how, if black folk will do something in this year, they can forget and hang it up.
Congressman John Conyers Jr. has been introducing the same bill for 25 years, calling for a commission to discuss reparations. It's been shot down every time. And while there are many obstacles in the way of distributing reparations, it's not impossible. Take Germany, South Africa, and Chile, all countries that have given reparations to groups of people their governments mistreated. And even here in the U.S., reparations have happened. In 1988, the U.S. began the process of reparations for more than 100,000 surviving Japanese Americans that were placed in incarceration camps during World War II.
America, one of the wealthiest countries in the world. But the question is, how did it accumulate its wealth?
This is a nation founded on genocide and built on the backs of slaves.